All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to talk about fluency, but maybe not in the way you're used to. We're going to get into this whole idea of perfection when we speak and why it might just be an illusion.
You know that feeling, right? You're in a meeting, someone's talking, and this little voice in your head just pipes up thinking, wow, they sound so polished, so much better than I do. It's that sinking feeling, and trust me, you are not alone in feeling it.
And then the spiral begins. That little thought turns into this whole internal monologue. I'm just not good enough. They're so fluent, and here I am, I just freeze up. It's a really vicious cycle, and that's exactly what we're here to break down today.
So, what is actually happening in those moments? Well, it's not you. It's not some personal failing. It's actually a cognitive trick, something we call the fluency trap. Let's take a closer look at how it works.
Okay, so here's the first big piece of the puzzle. Your brain, it isn't a video camera. It doesn't just record exactly what happens, fact for fact. No, it's more like an artist painting a picture. It captures the feeling, the vibe, the overall impression of a moment.
And because your brain is dealing in these big, broad impressions, it tends to blow things way out of proportion. You pause for just a second to gather your thoughts, and your brain doesn't see it as a pause, it screams failure. You hesitate on one word, and suddenly that's all the proof it needs to say, see, I told you couldn't do it.
And this whole thing, it builds into a much bigger illusion. Let's pull back the curtain on your brain's big trick, because once you see it, you can start to break free from it.
So check this out. It's kind of wild. When you're listening to someone speak, or even when you're judging yourself, only about 10% of what you perceive is based on what was actually said. The other 90%, a huge chunk, is just your brain's interpretation of what it thinks happened.
So, what does our brain reward in that giant 90% slice? It's not brilliant ideas or insightful comments. It rewards continuity. Just nonstop talking. And on the flip side, it punishes pauses. This is why somebody can ramble on saying absolutely nothing of value, but because they never stop, our brain slaps a label on them that says fluent or confident.
I really want you to hear this. The problem isn't your intelligence. It's not your experience. It's not the quality of your ideas. The real problem is this faulty connection your brain has made. This automatic link between taking a pause and feeling like you're not worthy.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the trap. Now for the good part, let's talk about the solution. And it all starts with completely blowing up our old definition of what fluency even is. This is it. This is the new definition. I want you to really let this sink in. Fluency has absolutely nothing to do with being perfect. It's not about never saying or constructing the most elegant sentence every single time. It is simply about the ability to keep moving forward.
The best way to think about this is to picture a river. Imagine a river flowing along, and suddenly there's a giant rock in its path. Does the river just stop? Of course not. It doesn't panic. It just flows around it or over it. The water is always in motion. That is fluency. Say it with me. Fluency is not perfection. Fluency is movement. This is the new mantra. This is what you say to yourself to replace all that old negative self-talk. It's not about being flawless. It's about staying in flow.
So that river metaphor is great and all, but what do you actually do when you're in the middle of a sentence and you feel your brain hit that rock? Let's get really practical here. How do we keep moving? Your new goal is to train for continuity, not perfection. And these right here, these are your tools. They're called bridge phrases. Think of them as your secret weapon to flow around the rock. The second you feel stuck, instead of just going silent, you pull out one of these. Saying, "Let me frame this carefully," isn't a mistake. It's a strategy. It buys your brain a few precious seconds to catch up, all while you keep moving. Okay, so we've spotted the trap, we've redefined the goal, and now you have a practical tool to get there. It all comes down to one final, really important shift in how you think about speaking. This is the new question for that inner critic. After you give a presentation or speak up in a meeting, I want you to banish the question, "Was that perfect?" That question is a setup. It just leads you right back into the fluency trap. Instead, I want you to ask yourself this one simple thing. Was I moving? As long as the answer is yes, you are being fluent.
And I'll leave you with this to chew on. Think back to that last meeting, that last conversation where you felt someone else just sounded so good. Now, honestly, were you blown away by the substance of what they were saying? Or was your brain just being impressed by the simple illusion of them never stopping? The answer might really surprise you.